Hello, everybody. I am going to try to do a voiceover for this lesson. I realized that I had uploaded it without sound, so I'm actually watching the video with you and I'm going to talk you through it. This is practice 14 on page 30 of the practice book, and we are looking at multiplying fractions. And there are a series of word problems that we need to solve. Here's number 1. The fraction of the population that is eligible to vote is 3/4. In an election, 5/9 of those who are eligible to vote actually do so. What fraction of those who are eligible to vote in the election actually do so? Well, this problem has a clue right there, 5/9 of, and that clue means to multiply. When you have a fraction and the word of side by side, most always you're going to be doing multiplication. So here's the clue, the key word to look for. The fraction is right beside the word of. In that situation, the two of those together means times, multiply. So what are we multiplying? 5/9 of what? Well, in this case, it's 5/9 of those who are eligible to vote. So you want to notice the key word, the key phrase, and then ask yourself, what is the number of those who are eligible to vote? And in this case, we don't have a number, we have a fraction. So I'm writing this out for you in word form, which is always a good strategy, especially if you're struggling with the problem. 5/9 of the eligible group is 5/9 of 3/4. So this is how I know that I need to multiply. And once you set the problem up, you can use your calculator, or you can multiply 5 times 3 to get 15, and then 9 times 4 to get 36. And this one will simplify by 3. So I'm dividing top and bottom by 3, and I end up with 5/12. And that corresponds to answer B. The clue is the word of. And I'm not sure why I drew that line there. Let's see what's happening here. Again, I am voicing over, so I'm watching with you. Oh, I know. I'm going to show you how to cancel here using the 3 and the 9, I think. If you're doing this longhand, you can cancel when you multiply. Yes. So break those down by 3. 3 divides into itself one time. And then 3 into 9 is 3 times. And then you are left with a multiplication problem. 5 times 1 is 5. And 4 times 3 is 12. So again, the answer is B. Okay, that should bring us to the end of that question. I'm going to wait for it to move on to question 2. I'm not sure what I was going over at this point in the original video. A recipe for biscuits calls for 3/2 cups of flour. Natasha increases the recipe by 5/4. How many cups of flour does Natasha need? Now this one doesn't have the clue word of, but it does say increases. And we are looking at building up, be that addition or multiplication. In this case, it's multiply. So 3 times 5 is 15, and 2 times 4 is 8, and that's a top-heavy fraction. 8 divides into 15. Sorry. One time with 7 left over, so 1 7/8 cups is the answer we're looking for. And then again, I think I'm going to show you how to cancel here, if it's possible to cancel. Remember, in all problems, or not in every problems, you can cancel sometimes and sometimes you can't. This one, you can't. 2 and 5 will not cancel, nor will 3 and 4. So this one will not work with the cancellation. Okay. So your answer is A, 1 7/8. The average pop song is 7/2 minutes long. The average pop album contains 13 songs. How many minutes is the average pop album? So we're given the number of minutes per song, 7/2, and we're going to repeat that 13 times. So 13 times 7/2. Put a 1 under your 13. 7 times 13 is going to be the numerator of this answer. Cannot cancel either way, so we only can multiply top and bottom. 7 times 13. Use your calculator as needed. We got 2 times 1. Oh, I'm working it out the long way. I actually recorded this video over a year ago and just realized that it doesn't have sound. So 91/2, and we're going to divide 91 by 2. And you got to use long division. And it'll eventually work out. Just be careful. $45 with 1 left over is 45 1/2 minutes. That's about right for a pop album. Any CD you buy is going to have close to that. But then all of those were logical choices, so that didn't really help. But the answer to number 3 is D. Number 4. Wendy reads 5/8 of a page per minute. How many pages does Wendy read in 4/3 minutes? And there's that clue of 5/8 of. And we're going to let her do that 4/3 times. In this one we can cancel. Do you see which direction we can cancel? If you're doing it on the calculator, you don't have to worry about canceling. The calculator does that for you and reduces to lowest terms. You can only cancel one way here. That's going to be the 4 and the 8. And I'm doing that, as you see. And then you can multiply 5 times 1 and 2 times 3. And I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I must be working it longhand. I'm just sort of having to wait and see what's happening so that I can talk you through it. Yes, this is without canceling. So you get 20/24, and you're simplifying it by 4. 5/6. Either way you go, you can also use your calculator to do that. And the answer is D, as in dog. And we're moving to number 5. Ray plows, whoa, that's making me seasick. Ray plows 2/7 acre of his field on Tuesday. On Wednesday, he plows 5/3 more than he did on Tuesday. How much of the field does Ray plow on Wednesday? Now, at first glance, this one is almost an addition problem. You would think that you're just going to add 5/3, but it's 2/7 times 5/3. Actually, I've started to write it down there. And then I decided to go back and show you the reasoning behind it. So let's take a look here. On Tuesday, we see that we have 2/7. On Wednesday, we have 5/3 more than he did on Tuesday. So this is multiplying. And I don't believe we can cancel, even though I may try here. 2 and 3 won't cancel. 5 and 7 won't cancel. So 2 times 5 is 10, and 7 times 3 is 21. And that will not simplify. If you cannot cancel, you won't be able to simplify. Okay. I don't know what I'm talking about when I originally filmed this. And I'm really not sure how the sound didn't come out right. And why am I erasing that? Okay, guys, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Um, I do see what I'm doing here. See, I made the same mistake twice. The 10/21 is the Wednesday amount. This amount was just the increase. So he just increased by 5/3, but the actual amount of the field was 10/21, was almost half. 10/20ths would be half the field, but this was a little bit, just a shade less than half. Number 6. A cabinet maker builds 3/8 of a cabinet in 1 hour. How many cabinets does he build in 9/2 hours? Well, we do 3/8 of a cabinet, and then he's going to repeat that 9/2 hours. And I don't believe there's canceling that can be done on this one, but we'll check and see. It always pays to cancel if you can. You see it makes that nice multiplication X in blue there. 3 9s are 27, and 8 times 2 is 16. And then that's top heavy, so we'll need to divide it through. 27 divided by 16 is going to be 0 times in the 2. In 27, it's 1 with a remainder of 11. So 1 and 11/16 will be the answer. And that is option C. I finally get around to marking it, don't I? This voiceover stuff is strange. Okay, this one they just tell me to multiply. I can cancel both ways, and hopefully we will see that happen. The 9 and the 3 get canceled by 3. And then the 2 and the 8 get canceled by 2. And then you have a much simpler problem to solve. 4 times 1 is 4, 3 times 1 is 3, and then 3 into 4 is 1 with 1 left over, or 1 and a third. And that is answer A. Okay. This is if you didn't cancel it, if you just multiplied it longhand. You get 24 over 18, which would be 1 time. 18 into 24 is 1, with 6 left and an 18 on the bottom. And then you do have to simplify by 6, and you get the same answer. You can do it either way. You will get 1 and a third. Or use your calculator if you have access to a calculator. Number 8. An aquarium is being filled. Not sure what I was doing there. An aquarium is being filled at a rate of 7/10 liter per minute. Which two could be the number of liters of water in the aquarium after 15 minutes? So we're taking the rate for 1 minute and duplicating it 15 times. But we're supposed to choose two expressions. So 7/10 times 15 over 1. You can cancel the 10 and 15 by 5. So let's look at that. 5 into 10. Well, 5 into 15 is 3. 5 into 10 is 2. So then you will have 21 over 2. And that's going to be 10. I'm messing up right here. There, I caught it. 10 with 1 left and 2 on the bottom. So 10 and a half would be one of the answers. But remember, we were asked to find 2 of them. And F looks good as well. 21 halves is the same as 10 and a half. 21 halves is an improper fraction. 10 and a half is a mixed number, but they are equivalent. So we will use both of those to answer number 8. And that may have been the last of them. I'm not sure if there are more. Yes, we have another page. Which model represents the product 2/6 times 2/5? So we are using that model that we've looked at to understand how this one works. You want to find the fractions that are shaded, the 2/6 and the 2/5. And I'm going to watch what I've done here. The answer is 4/30, which will help us. And reduced by 2 is going to give us 2 over 15. And let's look at what I'm doing here. I suspect I'm going to do it with canceling because it will be able to cancel. 2 into 2 is 1. 2 into 6 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times 5 is 15. So either way you do it, you get 2/15. The question is, which of those models represents the answer here? And again, I'm going to wait to see how I worked that, how I explained it, if possible. Yes, okay. So here we have shading to illustrate. One clue also is that this box has 30 squares total, and that goes back to that 4/30. So if you had to pick solely on that basis, I would go with B. The others are not divided into 30 equal squares. C is only divided into, 5 by 20. So the 30 is the clue here. And again, I don't remember how I explained it originally, but that would be one clue. Those are very common in elementary school when children, or middle school, I guess it would be, when they're learning to multiply fractions. Number 10. A tree grows at a rate of 6/5 meters per year. How much does the tree grow in 2/3 of a year? So there's that clue to multiply. 2/3 times 6/5 is the same as 2/3 of 6/5. So we're going to set up multiplying. You can cancel, so hopefully I do that. Yes. 3 into 3 is 1, and 3 into 6 is 2. And then 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 times 5 is 5. And that is our answer. It won't simplify. So 4/5, that is D. Dana is baking banana bread. The recipe calls for the bread to bake 3/4 of an hour and to check the bread 1/3 of the way into the baking time. How long is the bread in the oven before Dana checks on it? 1/3 of 3/4. That's 1/3 times 3/4. And this one will definitely cancel very nicely. 3 into 3 is 1. 3 into 3 is 1. So that cancels down to 1s. And that leaves the final answer as 1/4, or C, 1/4 of an hour. And number 12, multiply 3/10 by 7/12. So you can cancel if you want, or you can multiply straight across as I've done here. If you do this, you will have to cancel here. So by 3 we'll reduce into 7/40. And I hope I go back and show you the canceling route for this one. I do. The 3 and the 12 will cancel. You have to cancel diagonally. So 3 into 3 and then 3 into 12 will give you a much shorter, smaller problem. 3 into 3 is 1. 3 into 12 is 4. 1 times 7 is 7. 4 times 10 is 40. The answer is A, 7/40. Which product is not less than 1? Which product is not less than 1? I would look for top-heavy fractions on this one. But 33 over 13 times 4 is 52. That is less than 1. 52 over 52 would be 1, so this is less than 1. Then 35 over 45. 45 over 45 would be 1, so this is less than 1. 3 halves and 4/5 would be 12 over 10. 10 over 10 is 1, so 12 over 10 is more than 1. It's improper. It's top heavy. And then finally, I hope I go ahead and do that bottom one. Yes. 150 over 16 times 11. I don't know 16 times 11, so I'm going to come over to the side, multiply that out. That's for those of you who may not have a calculator. If you have a calculator, use it. 150 over 150 would be 1. So this, 170 over 170. This is less than 1. The one that is not less than 1 is C. That is an improper top-heavy fraction. Number 14, we're supposed to use the area formula. Gabriella paints a portrait measuring 2/3 a yard long by 4/3 yards wide. What is the area of the portrait? Area is always going to involve multiplication. And in this case, we're multiplying length times width. I will always draw a picture. And put the dimensions in there. And then I would write the formula for area. That's just a good habit to be in. Area equals length times width. I use a cursive L so it doesn't look like a 1. The length is 2/3. The width is 4/3. The parentheses mean multiplying. So 8 over 9. And area is always in yards squared or units squared. In this case, it's yards. So I would go with answer A. Almost a whole square yard. 9/9 would be 1 square yard. All right. The base of a dog's travel carrier measures 3/2 feet long by 5/6 foot wide. What is the area of the carrier's base? So I'm just sketching a picture. I always like to do that if it's that kind of problem. And then we will do the formula. And length times width. If you write that formula every time, you will memorize it eventually. But if you're taking the high set, they'll give you the formula, I believe. I know they do some of them. So this is going to be 15 over 12. That's top heavy, so we need to divide. 1 with 3 left over, a 12 on the bottom, and it will simplify. 1 1/4 square feet. And that is answer B. And number 16. Evan has a small herb garden on his windowsill that measures 11/12 meter long by 3/8 meter wide. What is the area of the herb garden? So again, I'm sketching a picture. Pictures help me tremendously with geometry. And then I will write my formula, area equals length times width. And I will put in the 11/12 and the 3/8. You could cancel on this one, the 3 and the 12. For some reason with formulas, I tend to just write them out, but you can cancel here. Or you don't have to. You can do your canceling at the end when you reduce. So this will be 11 times 1 and 4 times 8, or 11/32. And that will be B. Option B, 11/32 meters square. Which two fractions represent the product of 4/5 multiplied by 3/2? And you can multiply straight across to get 12/10, which is 1 2/10. And I'm not sure why I used a 12 there. I believe I made a mistake. Hopefully I will catch it. That should be a 10 on the bottom, not a 12, because there was a 10 on the bottom there. And we need two answers, so surely I'm going to catch it here. It's amazing how much I can see my mistakes. And there I'm showing you that I did make a mistake. And it's going to be 1 2/10, which changes that bottom one to 1 1/5. And that will make a difference. "12/10 or 1 1/5. And that looks like the end of the page. I believe that was the end of the whole lesson, but I'll have to wait and see. I do not have this book anymore. So I had to go at it with a voiceover. First time I've ever done a voiceover, and it is very, very different.